Hello everyone. In my last lecture, I have completed case 1 and case 2. Case 1 was about dry soil. That's mean when backfill is dry, and case 2 was about uniform surcharge. So now coming to case 3. Case 3 is when soil is under water. That means submerged condition. Submerged backfill. Submerged backfills mean soil is under water. So suppose this is water table. This is the symbol of water table. Okay, and that soil mass is underwater. So suppose this is a retaining wall AB, and H is height of that retaining wall. H is height of that retaining wall. So now look, as because water present, then there also will be a pressure from water side. So suppose this is the pressure diagram of soil solid. So as I told you, pressure diagram is triangular. So this is pressure diagram for soil solid. We can write here simply due to solid. Okay, so as because water also present here, there also present another pressure which is called hydrostatic pressure. That's mean water pressure, and it also be a triangular shape. So now this is due to water. So suppose unit weight of soil is gamma. As because it is underwater, then it will be gamma submerged. Then pressure at the bottom will be Ka gamma submerged into H. Okay, and the total force, that's mean the thrust, will act at the centroid of the triangle. Then centroid is acting at h/3 height from base. So you can write here from base it will be act somewhere like here h/3 from bottom. Okay, so this is PA1. I am marking it as PA1. So this force is from soil solid. Okay, soil solid, and this is the diagram of water. That's mean due to water. So here pressure will be at bottom gamma W into H. Okay, so as I said in my first lecture that water pressure is kind of hydrostatic pressure. So that's mean in all direction the pressure is same. So that's why there will be no coefficient. Okay, but in case of soil there is a coefficient. And another reason of not having coefficient in case of water is that water does not have any shear strength. Okay, so in water also there will be a total force, and this will be act also in centroid, at centroid. Okay, so h/3 height, I am marking it as PA2. Okay, so now look, due to solid, this pressure is called effective earth pressure. Effective earth pressure. So total force will be summation of due to solid and due to water, total summation. Now look, total pressure we can simply write total pressure due to solid, pressure due to solid we can write and pressure due to water. So suppose at a point, that's mean top. So suppose I am taking a general depth z, okay, z as a general depth. So now what will be then active earth pressure? So active earth pressure is due to water and due to solid. And due to water. Now look, due to solid, at z depth, earth pressure will be Pa1 Ka gamma dash into z, and due to water, earth pressure will be Pa2 is equal to gamma W into z. So now at top, that's mean at a point, z is equal to 0. At a, z is equal to 0, then both becomes 0, Pa also becomes 0 and Pa2 also becomes 0. But at, you can write here, z is equal to h, that's mean at bottom we can simply write B point. Okay, what will happen at B? Pa1 will become Ka gamma submerged into H, and Pa2 becomes gamma W into H. So we got pressure. Now thrust, that's mean force. Force will be then, we can write thrust. I have proved all of this, okay. Thrust will be half Ka gamma dash into H square, and it will act at centroid. So it will be act at centroid, that's mean H by 3 from bottom. And what about Pa2? Pa2, that's mean thrust will be thrust half gamma W H square. What is thrust? Thrust is average pressure into area. So average pressure at top it was 0, and at bottom gamma W into H. So at top 0 plus bottom gamma W into H. To get average we have to divide it by 2. And area means H into length, as because assumption was unit length, okay. So length in inside the paper we are taking it as unity, so it is 1. So then we got the result half gamma W H square, okay. So total thrust then, total thrust will be P. Suppose I am symbolized is as Fa1, it is as Fa2. So then it will be Fa1 plus Fa2, and total thrust will also act as at H by 3 height. So it will be also act and at H by 3 height, as because both are triangle, okay. So it is all about submerged backfill. Now when submerged backfill and water table are not at, matlab it was the condition when water table and ground level at same level, okay. But when water table is present at a certain depth, then it will be changed, all calculation will be changed. So now coming to next case number 4, very important case. Sorry, case number 4, case number 3, okay, it will be case number 4. So now case 4. Case 4, submerged backfill submerged backfill and water table at depth H1 from ground level. That's mean water table and ground level are not at same level. So this is retaining wall of height h. This is retaining wall. So water table present at a depth of h1 from ground level. So this is ground level. This is ground level, and water table present at a depth of h1 from ground level. Suppose it is h1 depth. It is h1. So at that position water table is present. Okay, we can simply draw water table. So now I am taking rest depth as h2. It is as h2, and the height of the retaining wall is h. That means h is equal to h1 plus h2. So from ground level to water table, as because there is no water, then there will be no effect from water side. So there will be no water pressure diagram. So only pressure diagram will be from soil solid. So this is pressure diagram for soil. Okay, and it will be in triangular shape. So suppose I am naming it as PA1. PA1. Okay, so that centroid will be at bottom. From bottom it will be at h1 by 3 distance. So it will be something a distance like h1 by 3. h1 by 3. Okay, h1 by 3. So now look, this pressure, that means this pressure will grow through that zone 2. Suppose I am naming it zone 1 and this is as zone 2. Okay, so this pressure will grow through zone 2 also. That means when water table also present. But look, this pressure will behaves like a surcharge when it go through second zone. That means this pressure will be treated like a surcharge. So as I said that surcharge pressure diagram always a uniform diagram. Okay, then this pressure the diagram, that means surcharge diagram will be uniform. That means rectangular. Okay, so I am naming it as PA2. Okay, as because height of that pressure diagram is h2, then centroid will be at h2 by 2. That means middle, then centroid will be at h2 by 2 distance. So now look, up to that, from ground level to water table, pressure will be Ka gamma into h1. But when water table as because present in zone 2, here unit weight of soil will be gamma sat. Okay, as because it is saturated condition. So this pressure behaves like a surcharge when it go through that zone 2, then pressure will be same Ka gamma h1. Very important point here, h1, mind it will not be h2. It's because it is surcharge value. So what it was actually, that will be same. So another pressure diagram, it will be for saturated soil. It will be look like this. Okay, so it will be Ka gamma submerged, as because it is a submerged condition, and h2, as because height is h2, and it will be at h2 by 3 distance, h2 by 3 distance from bottom. So I am naming it as PA3. Another pressure diagram for water, it will be gamma W into H2, and it also will act at H2 by 3 distance, Pa4. Okay, so how many pressure diagram we got? One is for dry soil, that's mean from ground level to water table, and it is triangular in nature, and that pressure will behave like a surcharge when it's go through zone 2. That's mean when it's going through zone 2, it will behave like a surcharge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 pressure diagram. So we have to calculate for 4 pressure diagram individually. So now, what will be then thrust? We got pressure. Then what will be thrust? So active, I am talking about active case, active earth pressure. So now look, thrust, that's mean FA1. It will be nothing but average pressure into area. At top it was 0, at bottom Ka gamma H1. So 0 plus Ka gamma H1 by 2 into H1 into 1. So result will be something half Ka gamma H1 square, and it will act H2 plus H3 by H1 by 3 from bottom. It will act H2 plus H1 by 3 from bottom. What about second pressure, which is for surcharge? It will be FA2. At top it was Ka gamma H1, and at bottom also Ka gamma H1 by 2 into H2 into 1. So Ka gamma H1 into H2, and it will act at H2 by 2 from bottom. So it is first pressure diagram, second pressure diagram, it is third pressure diagram, and it is fourth pressure diagram. So now what about third pressure diagram? That's mean FA2, FA3. At top it was 0, and at bottom Ka gamma submerged into H2. That's means 0 plus Ka gamma submerged H2 by 2 into H2 into 1. So it will be Ka gamma submerged H2 square by 2, and it will be acting at H2 by 3 distance from bottom. Okay, so last one is from water, FA4. At top it was 0, at bottom gamma W into H2 average into H2 into 1. So half gamma W H2 square. It will also act at H2 by 3 from bottom. Okay, so now look, to get a resultant, that's mean that centroid, common centroid. So what was the formula? Total thrust. Now look, what will be then total thrust? Total thrust, that's mean Fa will be the summation of Fa1 plus Fa2 plus Fa3 plus Fa4. And what will be then the resultant, the thrust? The position of resultant thrust will be something Z bar from bottom will be summation of FA1 into Z1. Suppose I am taking it as I, okay, by summation of FAI. That's mean in that case it will be something like half Ka gamma H1 square into H2 plus H1 by 3, okay, plus for second diagram we have to multiply with thrust into height, so Ka gamma H1 H2 into H2 by 2 plus Ka gamma submerge H2 square by 2 into H2 by 3 plus half gamma W H2 square into H2 by 3 by total summation. That's mean Fa. In this way we can get the position where resultant forces is acting. Okay, so this is all about case 4. So now coming to case 5. Okay, so now look, I assume that both soil in zone 1 and zone 2 are same. So that's why that surcharge is same throughout that zone 2 also. But if angle of internal friction changes, that means it is different for zone 1, it is different for zone 1 and zone 2. In that case, Ka gamma H, it will be from this level, but when it go to zone 2, when it just coming zone 2, it will be changed as because phi is changing. So I am showing now case 5. It is all about different soil. So case 5, backfill with different soils having different friction angle. It's the last case problem related to this topic. So now look, as because coefficient of earth pressure is related with angle of internal friction, so what is the value of coefficient of active earth pressure? It was something 1 minus sin phi by 1 plus sin phi. And what about Kp, passive earth pressure? 1 plus sin phi by 1 minus sin phi. So now look, when phi is increasing, in that case Ka will be decreased and Kp will be increased. So we can simply write here, when phi increasing, Ka will be decreasing and Kp will be increasing. Okay, and when phi going to decrease, in that case what will happen? Ka value will be increased and Kp value will be decreased. Okay, this is all about. So now look, that's mean in case of, suppose a soil, suppose I am taking it is as retaining wall. Now look, I have shown here only active earth pressure. Okay, so similarly you can just derive passive case. Okay, I did not show any passive condition, but it will be just similar in similar in case of active. So I have just shown here only active earth pressure. Passive earth pressure will be just similar to the active earth pressure. You can just derive. It will be it is very easy. So now look, it is retaining wall, and this is soil 1 and this is soil 2. So for soil 1, angle of internal friction suppose phi 1, and for soil 2, angle of internal friction suppose phi 2. Okay, suppose I am assuming that phi, first condition, I am assuming phi 1 is greater than phi 2. So phi 1 is greater than phi 2. In that case, what will happen then? Active earth pressure at soil 1, coefficient of active earth pressure coefficient, that means Ka1, it will be less than Ka2. As I said that if phi is greater than, if phi is increasing, then Ka will be decreasing. So as because phi a is greater than phi 2, that means Ka will be less than Ka2. And what will happen? Kp1 will be greater than Kp2. Understood? So now look, suppose height of soil 1 is h1 and height of soil 2 is h2. Total height is h. So now look, it is active condition. Pressure diagram will be triangular. So as because Ka1 is less than Ka2, that means this much pressure, that much pressure when it coming to zone soil 2, it will be expand, it will be increases, as because value of Ka2 is greater. Okay, so now it will be, surcharge will be bigger. Okay, and for soil 2, it will also have a pressure diagram. It will be look like this. And now look, this is Pa1 and it will be acting at h1/3 height, and it is for surcharge. It will be acting at middle. I am naming it as Pa2, that means h2/2, and it is Pa3 h2/3 height. Okay, but what will happen in case of passive? Pressure diagram will be triangular up to zone 1. So this much soil, this much pressure will behave like surcharge when it go through the zone soil 2, but as because Kp2 is less than Kp1, then surcharge will be smaller. Okay, so surcharge diagram will be something like this. Understand? P1, P2, and soil 2. For soil 2, there will be also a pressure diagram P3. Now look, value, what will be then value? This value will be Ka1 gamma 1 h1. Suppose gamma 1 is the unit weight of soil 1, gamma 2 is the unit weight of soil 2, and what will be then the surcharge pressure? It will be Ka2, not 1. Okay, gamma 1 h1. Look, it will be not gamma 2, as because it is the surcharge of soil 1, then unit weight of soil 1 will not be changed. Okay, it will be same, but as because coefficient of earth pressure changing, as because phi is changing, that's why coefficient of earth pressure will be changed. That's why it will not be Ka1, it will be Ka2. Okay, and this value will be Ka2 gamma 2 h2. So it is all about active pressure condition, and in case of passive, value of this pressure will be Kp1 gamma 1 h1, and this will be Kp2 gamma 1 H1. Okay, and that mass pressure will be Kp2 gamma 2 H2. So now look, it is active and it is passive. For passive, in case of active, total thrust Fa1 for that pressure, it will be Ka1 gamma 1 H1 square by 2, and it will be acting at H1 by 3 plus H2 plus H1 by 3. What about Fa2? Fa2 will be Ka2 gamma 1 H1 into H2, and it will act as H2 by 2, and Fa3 will be Ka2 gamma 2 H2 square by 2, and it will be acting at H2 by 3. So to get total thrust, we have to just summation, we have to just add all of this, and what will be then the point of resultant force? Point of resultant force will be summation of Fai into Zi by summation of Fai. Okay, Z will be summation of Fai into Zi by summation of Fai. Now what will happen in case of passive? Pp1 will be Kp1 gamma 1 H1 square by 2, and it will be act H1 by 3 plus H2. Look, it is H1 by 3, H1 by 3, and it was H2. Then from bottom, H2 plus H1 by 3, it will be the point of position of acting Pp2. Sorry, it will be F. I am calculating thrust. Okay, so it will be F. So Fp1 thrust will be Kp1 gamma 1 H1 square by 2, and Fp2 will be Kp2, that means Kp2 into gamma 1 H1 into area means H2, and point of application will be H2 by 2. It will be point of application Fp3, Kp3 into gamma 2 H2 square by 2, point of application H2 by 3. So total thrust will be, we have to just add all of them, then Fp will be the summation of Fp1 plus Fp2 plus Fp3. Point of application, total thrust, the resultant thrust. Then what will be the point of application of the resultant thrust? Point of application will be same, this formula, Fpi into Zi by summation of Fpi. Okay, so from next class I will continue then. Thank you.